watching Q from Q's Outdoors NZ. Today I've come up to the Flora car park. I'm going to head up towards Mount Arthur Hut, go up over Gordon's Pyramid and drop down to Salisbury Hut. Spend the night at Salisbury Hut and then walk back out tomorrow to the car park from the Tablelands. We'll be passing several huts on the way and quite a few rock shelters. This first section from the car park up to Mount Arthur Hut is pretty much all in the forest. Above Mount Arthur Hut we're above the tree line. It's currently 18 degrees and drizzling, but it looks like it's going to clear, so it should be a good day. There's this neat little waterfall right by the track. This is Kahurangi National Park, and being northwest Nelson, it's mainly beech forest. There's Mr. Weka coming to see us. Weka are a flightless bird, very common in the New Zealand backcountry, and they love to steal things. Anything you leave lying about they'll grab. And thanks to the Friends of Flora Tramping group, the wildlife in here and native birds are really making a strong comeback. So we're going to Salisbury Lodge today, but we're going not that way. We'll be coming back that way tomorrow. We're going up that way, via Mount Arthur. Just going to stop and take my pack off. I am not getting any water out of my drinking tube, and I'm carrying 2 litres. Mount Arthur being limestone karst country, it's very dry up here. There's hardly any streams up high, so you need to carry all your own water. So we'll just stop in this hollow tree. It's nearly all uphill today. Here we are walking through the beech forest. Some big trees in here. And this is quite close to where I live. It's only an hour's drive to get to the car park. Much favoured place for people that live in Nelson to come and do day walks, weekend walks, and take in the views. Though looking at it, there might not be any today. The blue tag in the tree is to say that there's a trap here. I don't think there'll be anything in it because they are up here checking the traps today. This is a small area of Dracophilium, not too far from the car park. These long fronds, when they're dry, and even when it's been drizzling today, they're dry, make excellent fire starters. But since we're in a restricted fire season at the moment already, mid-December, we won't be lighting any fires. As you can see here, the beech trees are actually quite short. I don't really know why this is, because they're well below the tree line. You get to here and you think, oh, it must be nearly there. And then when you're around the corner, the trees just get bigger. Again, all the way to Mount Arthur Hut. As you come around this corner, there is a seat where you can sit and take in the view. And it's actually clearing. It's looking really good out that way. Imagine back at home it'll be 20 plus degrees. It's supposed to get up to 26 out on the flats today. It won't be that up here because it is quite windy. You will hear me puffing from time to time. It's just an age thing. It takes longer to get fit and harder to maintain your fitness. But I'm certainly doing my best, and I don't intend to stop anytime soon. About 20 years ago I stood on this exact same spot. It was depths of winter, it was an absolute bluebird day, and looking behind me you could see all the way to Mount Taranaki, or Mount Egmont as it's now called, on the North Island. It was just one of those absolutely stunning days. Final approach to Mount Arthur Hut. And note, they've moved the toilet back here. It was here 20 years ago, and then it was moved behind the hut, and now they seem to have moved it back. And here we have Mount Arthur Hut. It's raining hard again, so I'll stop here, have a bite to eat, and think about my next move. As you can see, Salisbury Lodge, 4 to 5 hours. I'll give you a quick tour of the hut while it's raining. So we go in through the door. Stove for the winter. Stainless steel cooking bench. Candle holders on the wall. And the ubiquitous intentions book, where if you're coming into these huts, please write your name in the book, the date, destinations, and what you are planning to do. This helps to search and rescue people if there is a problem. Looking round, 2 rows of bunks, back outside through the door, more seating, and around the back, the kitchen sink and water tank. This is rainwater off the roof, so they do recommend you boil the water. It's up to you. Some people do, some people don't. So with the weather up here being pretty terrible, I'm going to drop down to Flora Hut direct, and then go down to Salisbury Lodge via the lowland track, because that's nearly all in the trees. Now that we've left Mount Arthur Hut, as you can see, the track has changed. This is a non-marked track as such, what they call a pole route. There are just poles across the open tops, but with this low cloud and clag, visibility will be quite low up there, and we're going to err on the side of caution. And as I say, drop back down to Flora Hut and walk into Salisbury that way. It's going to make the day a little bit longer, but it's downhill. These are the old track markers. Crossing this short piece of open tussock top, we are still below the tree line, just, and then we'll drop right back. All the altitude we've gained, we're going to drop back down and lose it all again. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing to see out there. It's a shame. I was really looking forward to going over Gordon's Pyramid today, but as I said, if the weather clears and it's looking good tomorrow, we'll go tomorrow and come back that way. This long tussock is very wet from the rain, And I'm getting my shorts, my boots, my socks. Even my socks are starting to get a little bit damp from water running down my legs. Clinging to the hillside, and the Alpine daisy. Don't you just love the weather? How it changes and changes and changes in New Zealand. Walking down the track, and the rain has passed through. It's still very windy though. I can keep getting gusts coming through the treetops. So I think even though the rain has stopped, we've made the right decision today. It would be distinctly unpleasant up on the tops with this wind. You can see I'm stumbling a little bit on this track. Lots of roots and stuff. But even so, it's still enjoyable. The last time I was here was in winter, last winter. And I was carrying my rifle looking for deer. Didn't see any, but I know they're in the area. Although I know now that not long before was up here then, there had been a team of cullers coming through, culling goats. And no doubt they shot deer as well. If you listen carefully, you will hear the bellbirds. These are a green bird, a little bit smaller than a blackbird, bigger than a sparrow. Very hard to see. Not 100% sure what's caused this growth on this tree. Looks kind of interesting though. Looks like a cauliflower growing on the outside of the tree. Down there on that tree you can see the orange triangle. It's been Department of Conservation land. Tracks, as usual, are marked with either orange triangles or if it's a pole route, orange poles. So if you are tramping through these areas in New Zealand, it pays not to follow blue triangles. They just lead to traps, or yellow ones even. The orange ones are the ones that are track markers. You know when you reach the no mountain biking sign, you're just about at Flora Hut. And those rock cut steps, are pretty much the last downhill before you get to the hut. So when you get there, you know you're just about there. As you can see, the weather is slowly clearing, but we've definitely made the right decision. I'll give you a quick tour of Flora Hut. This is the oldest hut in the park, built in 1927. All trails lead here from the car park at some stage. This is one half, open fire, bench as usual, and bunks. And next door we have another half. This has recently been insulated, partly in the roof, I believe. And this memorial is to a lady called Ruth. I did actually meet Ruth a few times. She died tramping in the park a few years ago. So that's bunk room 1. In the centre they have the firewood. They do ask you not to feed the wildlife here, especially the kea. And this is the second bunk room. Again, open fire, stainless bench top, and bunks. I write my intentions in the book here to say that I'm going on to Salisbury Lodge today. Let's shut that door. A little bit of drizzle again. Lock that, stop anything getting in there, and we'll just show you the sign. I'll show you the gridiron shelters when we get there. They are absolutely amazing. So we're going to Salisbury. Car park is half an hour. Lodestone is a day walk. Hour and a half is, pushing it a little bit. Mount Arthur Hut, hour and a half. It took us less than an hour to get here. And here is the original tin sign. I hope you can read that. And over there is the start of the track to Lodestone. It just requires a quick hop across the creek. So just sitting here at Flora Hut, it would have been fine to go up to the summit of Gordon's Pyramid today and go over, but with no views it was actually a bit pointless, and it wouldn't have been pleasant with the wind. I have done those conditions up there before, and yes, it isn't pleasant. So being a reconnaissance mission as well as a fitness mission, going up over Gordon's in the Clag would have been a waste of time. We wouldn't have seen anything, we wouldn't have been able to glass anything, and yeah, it would have been a waste of time. Just down in the water we have a Whio, or blue duck. These are quite rare. That's the main reason the trapping goes on here. It's just come out of the water. Beautiful to see these birds in the backcountry. They are rare. You don't see them very often. They live in fast flowing mountain streams and nowhere else. He's really enjoying himself, and we'll leave him alone. As you can see, this track is more of a motorway. Vehicles used to be able to drive all the way into the gridiron shelter, and now there's a lock gate at the car park. But the Friends of Flora, the conservation and trapping group, they still have access to drive in, because carrying traps in from the car park can get very heavy. So they tend to drive them to the gridiron, drop them there, and then move them from there where they want to. We will show you the gridiron when we get there. But that was so exciting to see that blue duck. I know they're in here, and it's really hard to get close to them. I'm only filming with an action camera, so I don't have a zoom camera. So getting close is the best I can do. I managed to hide behind a tree, and with the microphone I was able to hold the camera out further around the tree and record voiceover without being seen. This is the first game tracks we've seen. I suspect that this is the greater Hilux, a very common breed in New Zealand, and it's following the track, so we may even get to see it later if we're very lucky. Finding more and more of these tracks, I am convinced that it is the greater Hilux, which is fairly common, and if we're lucky we might get a glimpse. It can be quite elusive though.